But champ, let's talk about the big news. The Rams signed Davante Adams to a 2-year deal worth up $46 million with $26 million guaranteed, an average of $23 million per year. I like it for Davante because he stays in the West Coast. He's back in California. You have Sean McVay calling the plays for you. You have Matthew Stafford, your Georgia Bulldog. And by the way, Matthew Stafford last season played really well. Matter of fact, almost beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round. Was the only team that the Eagles gave the most trouble in the playoffs. You add him with a Kieran Williams, but I think Davante feels comfortable being the number 2 because right now it's got to be Puka Nacua at the number 1 wide receiver. They're going to move on from Cooper Kupp, but I like it for the Rams because it still keeps them competitive. You add another offensive component to the squad. Davante Adams may not be what he once was, but he still has some left in the tank, champ. Plus, he can offer some guidance, some wisdom to Puka Nacua. So I like this. I think it's a good move for the Rams. Your thoughts?
I think there's a lot left in the tank, and I think that we didn't get a chance to see everything that he can do because his quarterback was Aaron Rodgers this year. And even with Aaron Rodgers, he still was able to get over 1,000 yards receiving. And that's no slight to Aaron Rodgers, but let's just face it. This wasn't 2010. This is 2025. And that was not the same. And in the great words of someone famous, that was not Aaron Rodgers that we're used to seeing. And, his ability had plummeted. There was a lot of stuff that was said within that franchise. That organization was in disarray. And we didn't get a chance to see what Davante Adams could do and how he could affect the game. Now, he's going to have a lot more opportunities because that deep ball, guess what? Matthew Stafford can throw it. He can chunk that thing. And the thing is, all the attention is not going to be on him. There's not going to be any distractions within that organization. Sean McVay is one hell of a coach on the offensive side of the ball. And guess what? The marketing. Can you imagine Davante Adams coming in and helping L.A. win another Super Bowl? One of the biggest media market in the league right now? That would be spectacular. I mean, they've already, ever since they gotten back to Los Angeles, they've already been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. Can you imagine if Sean McVay got another one, especially in that division with the 49ers, with the Seattle Seahawks, with the Arizona Cardinals? All these teams are good teams. So I think that there's a good team. It has a lot of potential. You have Davante Adams, Puka Nacua, Blake Corum, Kieran Williams, and you have Blake Corum. That's a recipe for good things to happen. The only concern I really have is the offensive line. Offensive line, I have a little bit of concern that they just lost their right guard to the Chicago Bears. But, knowing Sean McVay, he was able to draft Puka Nacua and a lot of those great players out of the 6th and the 5th round. So guess what? I have nothing but faith in the Los Angeles Rams organization. As far as Davante Adams, guess what? It's really pick your poison. This has every potential to be the greatest show on turf, part 2 in Los Angeles. It has potential to even be a better offense than it was when they went to the Super Bowl because they have a 2-headed monster at the running back position. You have a good quarterback with Matthew Stafford. You have 2 hell of a receivers at this point. The only thing that I have questions about is the offensive line because they just lost their star guard. But other than that, I'm just going to be real. This acquisition has a lot of potential. I cannot wait to report on this. And this is going to be good, man. The San Francisco 49ers, they just lost Deebo Samuels. Brandon Ayuk is on the trading block. And that the NFC West is changing at this point because a lot of those great players that San Francisco had, they're filtering them out at this point. There's no more Deebo Samuels. They're getting younger on that. So you have to wonder if this getting younger phase is going to come with growing pains. You still have the jury's still out on Arizona and Kyler Murray at this point. The jury's still out on him if he's going to be traded or if he's even going to be the quarterback or if he's the man at all. And Seattle Seahawks just traded Geno Smith. So, and DK Metcalf is on the trading block.
And they're like, Tyler Lockett.
Yes, and they let go of Tyler Lockett. So you have to ask yourself, is this division now wide open if San Francisco is not able to make the right move?
Well, that's the thing. When I look at it with the Rams, champ, but you mentioned the offensive line, and I gotta hold you at your word because you're the one who always says this: quarterback cannot throw behind his back. Matthew Stafford just turned 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you got to do everything you can to possibly protect him, and you're going to have to get somebody in the draft. I don't know how much money that the Rams have in cap space. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but they have to go back and get in some players in the draft, some offensive linemen to protect Matthew Stafford because he's not as mobile as he was in his early days in Detroit. He still can throw the ball deep. He still has an arm. He still has a cannon, but without an offensive line, champ, particularly at his age, that's a world of trouble.
Yeah, the quarterback can't throw on his back. So, I mean, if you don't believe that, just ask a lot of other quarterbacks. I mean, just ask Joe Burrow and
Yes,
ask Caleb Williams. So, y'all got to address that offensive line if y'all want to have something. But
but
as far as
go
weapons
ahead.
is concerned, I believe that they have every potential in order to be great.
Well, on paper, they can put up some points. They can
Yes.
put up some points. They can be a top 5, top 10 offense in the NFL.